Reading with your kids.
Hola, niho, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, morning moli wanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We're so delighted and so very honored and so wicked happy that you're joining us in our mission to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show in the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, whatever app you use to download your podcast. Speaking of apps, our guest today is Matt Hamersley. He is here to tell us all about an amazing app that can transform our reading with our kids. It's called Novel Effect. Before we invite Matt into the studio, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by the secret science of sports, the math, physics, and mechanical engineering behind every grand slam, triple axel, and penalty kick. Written by our dean of all things STEM and STEAM, Jennifer Swanson. I love this book. Have you ever wondered why a football spirals and how it spirals? Do you ever wonder how some athletes are able to jump so high? Well, it's a simple answer. Science! The secret science of sports helps kids better understand concepts of science, technology, engineering, and math through the sports they love to play and to watch. What a fantastic way to ignite your kids' interest in the STEM and STEAM field. You and your kids are going to love this book, The Secret Science of Sports, the math, physics, and mechanical engineering behind every grand slam, triple axel, and penalty kick, by our friend, the dean of all things STEM and STEAM, Jennifer Swanson. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Dandelion, written by Judy Weigel. Dandelion is all about helping kids to self-esteem and how they can keep themselves safe from bullying. The main character is a dandelion who has taken on human characteristics and is perplexed by the opinions and the rough treatment meted out to her by others around her. She knows that she is beautiful and worthy. She teaches everyone to believe in their own beauty, in their own worth. It's a fantastic story that you will absolutely love reading with your kids. Dandelion is one of the 3 great books written by Judy Weigel. You can also check out Lisa and Her Pajamas and Magical Words, the books by Judy Weigel. We love Dandelion. Join us right now from Seattle and the great state of Washington. Our guest today is here to celebrate a really novel way to experience books with your kids. It's called Novel Effect. Please welcome to the show, Matt Hamersley. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well today. How are you?
I'm pretty psyched, and I'm really intrigued with Novel Effect. I discovered Novel Effect watching an episode of Shark Tank. I don't remember if you guys got funded or not, but that's not important. What I do remember is that this was a really neat way to experience books. Can you tell us all about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So what Novel Effect does is makes read alouds magical and uses voice recognition in an app to listen to you read aloud a book with your kids, and adds in music, sound effects, and even characters' voices to make that read aloud magical.
That really is fun. Matt was sharing a little demo with me, and he'll share it with all of us a little bit later on. And I was really, at first, as I'm hearing him talk about this teacher sitting at a desk and she's writing, I actually heard this scratching. I'm like, what's that interference? Oh, it's the teacher writing in the book, and I'm hearing it. That's a trip. That's really...
Yeah, it's super cool. You know, again, like, it's all about making reading fun and magical for kids, right? And at the end of the day, like, we parents and teachers, like, it can be a struggle sometimes to capture those kids' attention and really engage them. And what we have found and what we have built is that the addition of these corollary music and sound effects and characters' voices just adds this level of engagement and magic to the experience that kids just look at you like they're watching a movie and they're super engaged and into the story. And, one of my favorite quotes from the teachers is that, even the wiggly ones sit still, because it just has that power to just capture people.
Yeah. So where did this idea come from? How did novel effect become a thing?
Yeah, so we had a baby shower for my daughter before she was born, and we asked all of our guests to bring us books instead of cards so we could start building a little library for her. And one of my wife's friends started reading aloud the book that she brought, and she added in all these fun voices and sound effects and just captivated a room of adults and kids alike. I was a patent attorney working in a law firm down in Austin, Texas, and I had done patent work in the voice space as well, voice technology. And so she started reading, and man, a light bulb just went off and said, oh my gosh, like if every parent and teacher could tell stories like this, every kid would love to read. I couldn't let it go. I was up every night bugging my wife, who's 7 months pregnant, asking her questions. We could do this. We could do that. We could do this. And, 3 months later, we quit our jobs. We sold our house. We put it all into the company and just went all in.
Wow. That is some kind of belief.
Well, there's very few things in life that you kind of get this pit in your stomach, right? That you've got something, right? And when, I'm an idea guy. I was a patent attorney, right? It's all I listened to were ideas, and I had tons of my own. But when something captures you like that, I didn't want to look back in 10 years and say, oh, I didn't go for it, right? And it was a good transition as far as my daughter being born, and it put a new perspective on my life, having kids, and thinking about them and thinking about what I wanted to do every day. I didn't want to write chemical patents or, patents for big companies that I couldn't share with my daughter, my son now, day in and day out. And so we really wanted to do something that, had a positive impact on the world, positive impact for our kids, and allowed us as workers and as a profession, to share what we did with our kids on a day-to-day basis.
That's really wonderful. And as you're speaking and describing that guest reading with all the animation and the sound effects, that's something that comes naturally to a lot of people. Some people say that I did that with my kids, but I've been on stage for 30 years, so it does come kind of naturally to me and to others, but it doesn't come naturally to everyone. And so this sounds like a really wonderful idea that just make the reading experience or the listening experience a little bit fuller for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's awesome, right? Where you have people who are really animated storytellers and are able to engage and capture their audiences. And right? If you've been on stage, you know what you got to do, right? To capture people's attention. You cannot just sit there with a monotone voice and read a story and expect people to listen and expect people to pay attention. So yeah, I think our app really helps kind of democratize that access to not just the really talented and special ones, but to everybody, right? Every parent, every teacher, and really puts the focus on the act of reading itself. And one thing that really is special about us is that our mission at the end of the day, right, is to empower parents and teachers to connect and engage with their kids. Like that's the mission. And the unique thing about the app is it's audio based. So you start it and you put it down. You can read from the print book, right? As you're doing it, just like you always have, right? And what we want is those kids snuggling up with their parents, right? We want those group of kids in classroom all sitting together paying attention to the story. And we want teachers and parents to not have to change their behavior, read in the same way that you always have. Read with that print book, snuggle up, because the app is not going to interfere with that relationship. It's going to enhance it. It's going to empower it. It's going to make it happen more often.
Yeah. I love that. I'm curious, have you had any reports that the app has helped kids on the autism spectrum become better engaged with story? I know as I've performed over the years, I know wearing whiteface on stage helped me connect better and helped some kids who came up on stage who I didn't know were on the autism spectrum and didn't really communicate with folks in their school. Suddenly they were able to communicate with me, and it really amazed their teachers. I'm wondering if this has had a similar effect.
Absolutely. And, it's Autism Awareness Month here in April as well. And this is a subject that's, very near and dear to my heart. And, I'm no expert, and all of my, experience and opinions is on the anecdotal side and from what people tell us, right, in using it. But, music has this power to capture everyone. It transcends language. Right? When you hear sad music that this is sad. When you hear happy, upbeat music, this is happy. You don't have to know the words, right? You don't have to understand it. You don't have to read someone's facial expression and tone in their voice to get it, right? And what we have seen and what people have told us is that when you start a story with our app and the music starts playing, kids who are on the autistic spectrum, who are typically withdrawn from the rest of the class or off in the corner, stop what they're doing and come join the rest of the class, and we've had teachers just crying and sobbing, because they were able to connect with these kids in a way that has been a real struggle for them, right? So it's that addition of the music that captures their attention, right? And then motivates them to continue on with the story. And then I'll tell you what happens. Almost every kid who hears a story with this and then understands what the app is doing, well, they want to be the reader, to be the one to trigger the music and trigger the sound effects and be this magician. And we've been told that these kids on the autistic spectrum now are going into the kindergarten class and reading to them. Right? When before they couldn't engage, they were very shy, they were withdrawn. Now you've given them a tool, right, that is simple to use, easy for them to do, and makes everyone else pay attention to them in a positive way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just music is this magical thing. And so I don't think it's so much magical. It's just that we don't understand it. I mean, everything about science is magic until we figure it out. And we know that there's a different part of our brain that's engaged when we're hearing music. Maybe that's just, it's starting, the music and the books and the story are starting to kind of make bridges. And so now we're actually using both sides of the brain. I'm just some old guy, just music.
No, I think you definitely are correct here. I mean, I had a degree in chemical engineering and did a lot of bioscience in the patent world as well. And again, not an expert in this space, but based on my understanding of brain technology or how the brain works and work that has been done and brain machine interfaces and these types of things, yes. Your brain is a web. It's a network. And when you build connections with multisensory experiences, you enable the depth of that experience and the depth of those connections, right, to be strengthened and hit on all sides, right? So that, yes, the music touches the language. It touches the emotion. Right? It touches the math side of the brain. It does it all. And when you combine it contextually with the story, well, now you're mapping and strengthening all those connections to the language development, right? To the ability to recognize facial expressions because you're timing the two together, right? And yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty cool, future as we understand more and more about how to capture that engagement, about how to deliver those learning outcomes, right, with multi-sensory experiences.
Yeah. So cool. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm still blown away when I get into my car and I can push a button and tell my phone to dial somebody and it usually understands me. Oftentimes when I'm trying to call my wife, the app will say, "You want me to call a tow truck?" And it's like, no. But I mean, that just, this voice recognition science is blowing me away. And I'm so excited. I hope that I actually make my goal of living to 105 because I can't wait to see the kind of technology that tomorrow is going to bring.
Oh yeah, and there's so much out there, and we're just getting started from our perspective. Like, we've got some test material inside of the app where it's also like voice interactive television, where you can talk to the characters on the TV screen and they talk back to you.
I can see how that would be amazing. I can also see some really other uses with that we won't talk about on a family show. Tell me, I'm just really excited. Can you share with us a little bit about what the app looks like and how it works?
Yeah, let's do a quick demo and
Absolutely.
show everybody. So I'm just gonna connect my phone here to our call and give you a little whirl of how it works. Okay, so got a whole bunch of different children's books in here. They're the most popular children's books that out there. They're the ones that you read with your kids today, right? And the beauty of our app is that it works with both print books as well as digital ebooks. It just needs to hear you reading aloud in order for it to synchronize the right music and the right sound effects for wherever you are in the story. All right, so it's coming up towards the end of school. We worked with this author, Shannon Olson, to create a soundscape for her book. It's called A Letter from Your Teacher on the Last Day of School. So I'm just going to tap here. We're going to do the ebook so you can see it. Hear that little startup chime, and now you just start reading. A Letter from Your Teacher on the Last Day of School, written by Shannon Olson. Dear student, how are you? It's me again. As your teacher and your friend, I just can't believe this school year is now coming to an end. Can you think way back to our first day of school? You might have felt unsure, meeting new friends and learning new rules. But it did not take long for all of us to discover that our class was something special and unlike any other. We grew to be a family. As you all learned and made mistakes.
What?
You've laughed a lot together too. We needed those brain breaks. You added and subtracted, practiced strategies in math. When given a word problem, you worked to find a path.
Aha. Thank you.
We asked questions during reading and answered quite a few. You wrote sentences with capitals, ending with punctuation too. We had fun events this year.
Attention, students, it's Crazy Hair Day! Woo!
And many holidays, no less.
Here you go. Thanks.
You smiled big on picture day. And we can't forget recess. Days weren't always perfect. Some work was even tough. But every time you tried your best, that was always good enough. Not only am I proud of all the hard work you have done, but you've also made good choices. And I know you've only just begun. Might feel sad to say goodbye. Change can be hard for everyone. But Get ready for new challenges
You can do it.
and a summer full of fun.
Yeah.
As you start a brand new grade, I have no doubt you'll be a star. Your new teacher will soon learn just how wonderful you are. Stop by and visit me in future years, wherever you are coming from.
Hello. Hello.
I'd love to hear how you are doing and see how tall you have become. We'll always have our memories, even when this year is through. You've become a special part of me, and our class is now a part of you. Love, Matt.
That is
Well, there you go.
Amazing. That
I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, that really is amazing. And as you were scrolling through the list of books, I saw some that we have featured here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Watercress by Andrea Wang is one that we just focused on not too long ago. So there's certainly a great variety of books that are available on the app.
Yes, sir. We've got almost 1,000 at this point, and we're making about, I'd say about 10 to 15 a week.
Wow. Okay, so tell us, we've seen the demo. We've talked a little bit about the technology and where the idea came from. How does it work on a practical side? Is there a cost involved in it? Do we buy each book that we're reading?
Yeah, so the beauty of the app is that it works with the books that you already have at home. There is both a free tier to the app, so you can use it for free, as well as ability to upgrade for a premium subscription. And that provides unlimited access to everything you see in the app.
Okay, so if I had the free app and I had that free membership and I already owned Watercress just to use that, so I could open that book and punch in Watercress and I'd be able to read it and get the sound.
Yes, that's right. Except we do have 5 free reads per month, a limit on the free tier. And then there are some titles that are exclusive to premium subscribers. Mm-hmm. Some of our new releases and new things that we add into the app, as well as seasonally highlighted and featured ones.
Neat. And what about, we have a lot of authors who listen to the show. What are the ways, if an author is interested in having their book be on your platform, is there a way for them to reach out to you?
Oh, you bet. Just go on our website and go to partners, and we're looking for all sorts of great authors and publishers who want to add their books to the app.
Wow. And is there a fee for the authors to participate, or is that something that gets worked out as people buy the book and the subscription and all that?
Yeah, well, it kind of depends on the price of the sale. You know, we're a startup. We're trying to, work with authors, publishers in our community, most importantly, to add the content that they want to read. So we work on it on a case-by-case basis, right, where our team is just overwhelmed to a certain point now. So we'll get it done. It just may not be that quick.
Mm-hmm. And, I mentioned that I discovered you from seeing you folks on Shark Tank. If there's somebody out there that's really excited about this, we oftentimes have Kickstarter projects on and that people want to support. Is there a way for folks to invest in Novel Effect at the moment?
Oh, not at this time as far as a public fundraiser.
Okay. This sounds really, really neat. In a minute, I'm going to ask you where we can go and where the website is and everything. What's the favorite book of yours and of your kids that's on the platform?
Oh, gosh, there are so many. All-time favorite is Giraffes Can't Dance. Such a fun book. And with the app, you hear the warthogs waltzing, you hear the lions do a tango. It's amazing. And one of the most, engaging experiences for a read aloud I've ever seen. We also just recently added one that I think is spectacular. It's called Greta and the Giants. Kind of topical right now, as far as what's going on around the world. But the soundscape that we made for it, it sounds like a movie. It is the most theatrical sounding soundscape that I have ever heard. And I would encourage everyone to give it a shot. And, all of these books too are available in your local library. Mm-hmm. And so that's the other thing I would encourage folks is that, man, there's nothing more powerful than a library card. And with this app, you go to the library and just check out all sorts of books that are on there and bring them to life.
Wow. Amazing. So tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Novel Effect.
Yeah, so www.noveleffect.com. We've got a lot of information there for parents and teachers. And we also do a bunch of reading challenges as well, where just read a story in the app, and we're giving away all sorts of prizes to people who participate. You can also just search Novel Effect on the App Store for iOS or Android and just download it and give it a whirl.
Awesome. We've had a really fascinating time speaking to Matt Hamersley about Novel Effect, a great new app that can transform your reading experience. Hey, Matt, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and hope everyone gets a chance to check it out and try it with their kids, and let us know what you think.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Pamela Ehrenberg. She'll be here to celebrate her middle grade novel. It's called Detour Ahead. Don't miss it. Hey, please go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. We would love it if you could sign up for our free newsletter. We have revamped it. We're relaunching it in May. It is going to be awesome. All sorts of author profiles, letting you know what's coming up on the podcast, letting you know what you might have missed on the podcast, some great recipes you can do with your kids, some great do-it-together STEM activities. So much going on in this newsletter. You don't want to miss it. It's free. All you need to do is go to readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, we want to start by thanking our guest, Matt Hamersley. Please be sure to check out Novel Effect. What a delightful way to really kind of make your reading with your kids different. I love it. I think it's really cool. Also want to thank our sponsors, Dandelion by Judy Weigel. Help your kids fully embrace their own self-beauty with this delightful picture book by Judy Weigel. Dandelion, check it out today. Also want to thank Jennifer Swanson, our Dean of all things STEM and STEAM. Be sure to check out the secret science of sports, the math, physics, and mechanical engineering behind every Grand Slam, triple axel, and penalty kick. I want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Skylar Strauss. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.